Welcome to part 2 of our interview with Arnold, our neighbour from up the street, and our big reveal of all our plans for the rest of this year and going forwards. We hope you enjoyed part 1 last week, and this one we talk about toilets and other things that we expect to happen in our new life on the inland waterways of the UK.
So like and subscribe, people.
What will you do when you're too old to live on a narrowboat?
Well, that's one of the reasons of going back and spending 2 years travelling around, is to look for where we eventually want to live. Because we're both from the southeast, which is, property-wise, is quite expensive now. And to get what we want, probably more what I want.
Almost certainly what you want.
We've got to go further north, because I would like to get some land, have a small holding, edge of the village, pub down the road, rose-tinted glasses that I've got. But to do that, to be able to afford to do that, we've got to go further north. So this is one of the reasons we're going to be on the narrowboat for 2 years, is whilst we look for somewhere that we might think we might like to live. But no, we're not going to be on a narrowboat forever, because there will reach a point when we're too old to
No,
do
it won't. We'll be young forever.
So at that point, we will move into bricks and mortar.
Okay. So, living in a big steel tube, will it be hot in the summer and freezing in the winter?
They're not in the winter first. They're generally quite warm, because you have either a diesel stove or a wood burner in there, and they have central heating, etc. So in the winter, they're actually normally quite warm.
They're pretty well insulated.
Yeah. Now, summer's a different matter, because yes, you're basically living in a steel tube and you've got the sun beating down on you, and they do get hot. There's several ways to cool them. A lot of people spend time putting water on the roof from the canal. You can get portable air conditioners now, but of course they use up energy. And you just have to plan your trips accordingly, so you can park in shade on particularly hot days and things. So yeah, it does get hot in the summer. And the way the climate is going, I think it is only going to get hotter. But I'm sure people on the waterways, because how many live on the waterways? It's quite a few, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's about 20,000 or something. I'm sure somebody will invent something for narrowboats to help them cool them down.
But overall, it is an outdoor life. When you're cruising, you're outside, stood on the back of your boat, driving it. You're not inside very much to cook and to sleep.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's cooler at night.
Okay, I have another climate change question. Do the canals ever freeze, flood, dry up, etc.?
All of
the above.
Okay.
Yeah. At the moment, they're suffering low water levels, and we're only in spring. Well, just coming into summer, which is a bit worrying. Yes, and there's several ways that can happen. If people leave the locks open, then they can drain the higher parts of the canal system. If there's a lack of rain, it also drains, because they're not like rivers. They're not constantly constantly fed by moving water. Flooding the same can happen. Especially if they're close to a big river and the levels rise. What was the other one? Freezing. Yes, they
do freeze.
They do freeze a week, maybe 2 weeks. They can freeze certain bits. I don't know how we'll see, won't we? Because we'll effectively be going back for a winter. That will be our that we'll get there for the winter part of it. So
would it be a case where you would look for, like in the summer, you would look for more northern locations, and in the summer, look for like
more southern?
Southern,
probably yes.
Okay. But you won't be the only ones doing that.
No, that's the thing. No.
I'm sure there's like a migration, right?
The key, if you're going to get stranded by either of those things, is to be stranded somewhere where you want to be.
Right.
Because if you can't move, then you need to be relatively near to water and all the things that you haven't got on board, water and food and other things.
Can you describe the boat you're looking for?
yes.
I think you've got a pretty clear idea
I've
of
got
what
a
you
pretty
want.
clear idea on what I want. There's several different styles now. There's traditional, which is where from the stern, where you drive the boat, you go down straight into the bedroom, which is not what I want. What I want is what they call a reverse layout, where you, from the stern, you go down into the galley, the kitchen, and then through into the saloon, so that's your lounge area. Then you have your bathroom, and then the bedroom at the front of the boat. One of the reasons for that is if you have guests on board, typically everybody comes in and out of the stern, but you don't want them having to go through your bedroom all the time to get into the boat to the kitchen or whatever. So I like the reverse layout. But also I'm looking for something very contemporary. I'm not looking at a traditional narrowboat by any means. Now, traditional narrowboats are full of wood, typically painted red and green, the ones you see in the movies, etc. But I think we're looking for something much more contemporary, sort of grey, white, typically white on the outside to reflect the heat in the summer, going back to the summer question, but very modern, up to date. We're not going to buy brand new, but you can get older boats that have been modernised and refitted out, which look great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything to add to that, apart from want the kitchen at the stern, so that I can have a cup of tea when we're going
when you're
along.
cruising, yeah.
Don't have to carry it all the way through the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it as far as
Yeah.
the boat goes.
So, and we talked about size earlier, but around the 57 foot long, we think is probably going to be the ideal. But, you know, we've been looking on the internet, but we haven't actually physically gone and looked at any boats yet, and that's what we'll be doing in August when we go back.
Right.
Yeah, we're heading back in about 4 weeks for a month to hopefully look at buying a boat. Well, we'll certainly go and look at boats, and if we can buy one, then we see the one we want, we'll buy it. If we can't, we won't. But
Yeah.
we'll have an
To
idea
start
of what
the
we want by then.
process. Yeah, and start the process. And we do actually have property already in England. We have a one-bed flat in St Leonard's on the coast, south coast. So we do have a base already, which is where we'll stay in August whilst we're looking for a boat. And then if we don't find a boat, and it comes round to our trip back on the Queen Mary at the end of October, you know, we've still got our property that we can go and live in whilst we look for a boat. So I think we're pretty much covered and organised in that direction.
I think we have a fair idea of what we want.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You didn't talk about toilets.
Am I supposed to talk about
I
toilets?
don't know.
Was not on my list.
Toilets.
Okay, you eat. Okay, well,
I did have those questions. I talked to Chris about this already. I can't remember what the answer was, but
Toilets seem to be one of the things that narrowboaters.
That's what
when
they
they
talk
meet
about.
on the canals, that's
They
what
talk
they
about
talk
toilets.
about. Or so it would appear.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
basically 3 different toilets. You can have a pump out, which is, you know, a lot of boats and
Which
marinas
is
have.
a big tank that
It
sits
sits
up under your bed
which
and
no.
takes a month to fill up.
no, thank you
Doesn't
very much.
sound that appealing.
Yeah. The
And
next
you
one
pay
is,
to have it pumped out. as
Right.
well.
is a cassette toilet where there's cassettes under the toilet, but you have to take the cassettes out and empty them at what they call an L-sand place, and then put them back into the toilet. And then the third one, which is what we want, is a composting toilet.
okay.
So we figured that would suit our needs best and best for the environment and etc. So we're hoping, looking at boats, if it's got a pump out toilet, it's an immediate no. We don't even go look at it. But cassette toilets we would look at because we can change that easily to a composting toilet. So that's the toilet issue. But I mean, showers and things, it's just a normal stand-up shower like you have in your home.
Right.
You know, full height and everything. Well, the boats are typically 6 foot high.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
over 6 foot.
Just over 6 foot. So you have a normal stand-up shower in the bathroom.
Do you carry water with you? Is there a water tank that you fill up?
Yeah.
Yes. Each
Yeah.
one has, how big are they?
Well, they can range from 200 litres up to 1,000 litres.
But yeah, which you fill up at various points along the canals, and all of that, like the Alsan point for empty set toilets, the water, etc. That's all included in your annual licence fee.
Okay.
So, but there are set points, and you stop off along the canal on the way.
Trash
Trash
garbage
pick up to
is also
recycling is all included in your licence fee, which you pay yearly.
and they're just spaced along the canal, so you plan your days around those. But we're not in a hurry to go anywhere. We're not going to be working.
Right.
There's no intention to have jobs.
No, if
I don't think so.
hopefully.
We can get away with it, and also we haven't really talked about stopping, because we don't. Well, we don't want to give the impression that we're just going to be cruising every day. We're going to go on a cruise, stop, get up the next morning, go on a cruise until we've completed 2,200 miles.
Yeah, so how does that work?
The way the canals work is you have moorings included in your licence fee everywhere, and most of them you can stay for up to 2 weeks, and then you have to move after 2 weeks, and they're sort of set into areas, so you just have to move into the next area. So that might just be a mile, and some people have jobs and they just sort of go around staying within a space of area where they can easily get to work. But we'll cruise for a day, spend a week, 2 weeks, however, depending on where we are.
Area wherever we are, because there's so much of the UK I've not seen, and that's one of the points of doing this, is to explore the UK.
Yeah. And hopefully we can document it.
Yeah.
And, we can learn. Everyone else can learn a bit.
I have another question about the mooring. So, is the mooring when you get to a place, or you know where you're going, where you want to stop? Is it first come, first serve? Because I would imagine that there's
First
some
come,
spots
first
that are more popular than others, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's first come, first serve. You can't make reservations.
No. The only time you can make a reservation is certain spots during the winter. I think you can reserve them something like 3 months, can't you?
Yeah.
If you don't want to continuously cruise through the winter, but there's only a few spots that you can do that. Most of the time it's first come, first served, and you have to move on every 2 weeks.
Also, if we're going on holiday or it's
coming back here.
the winter months, or we're coming back here, we could put our boat in a marina for that period of time. We know it's safe then, because that's a bit of a worry, is how safe.
I'm not keen on leaving the boat unattended for 2 weeks on a canal just by itself. I'd
You're
rather
effectively leaving your home.
I'd rather leave it in a marina and just pay the marina fees
Yeah.
for however long we come back for, or go away for, or whatever.
You know it's covered there, and you can have an electric hookup just like you can in a campsite.
Yeah.
Are there apps for doing what you're doing? Apps that are like tools that you can use for assisting you in moving, seeing how many, is there an app for how many spots are available up ahead at the next location that you're
There's
thinking of?
nothing like that as far as we're aware.
Right.
I think the apps.
But there are apps for planning your
There are
routes
apps
and
for
things,
planning
and
with
then-
the maps of the canals.
So you'll know whether there are locks, bridges, tunnels to go through, or whatever.
Because everything on the canals is like a scaled down river. So a lot of canals, the bridges, the canal won't go under, so they have to be opened or swung out of the way. You have to have locks so you can go up and down hills. And the canals, well, they vary. Some of the stuff we've been watching, they're tiny, aren't they? They're like a foot wider than the boat. And some are huge, massive. So there's a lot. Yeah, there are apps for that. What 3 words I think is going to be an
I think it's going to be really
important app for
helpful,
us, so that we know exactly where we can say exactly where we are, and getting things if we ever have to have deliveries.
Like a food delivery, you use what 3 words to arrange a place to meet them. So for those who don't know what 3 words are, every square metre in the world has its own unique 3 words. So, like where we're sitting right now,
in a different 3 words to
would
you.
be a different 3 words to where you're sitting. It's literally square metre, and it's every square metre in the world's been mapped by a computer and given in its own 3 words. So you can find anybody, if they give you those 3 words, you know you will be within a metre of them when you get to that point in the app. There's an app, obviously, that
of the
with
words,
it.
of the
yeah,
three
of
words.
all the words, yeah.
Didn't know that.
It's quite an incredible thing that they've
is,
done.
yeah.
Whoever
It's very
designed
clever.
it or came up with it was extremely clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple and clever.
Yeah, so that's really useful for things like having deliveries done, or if you've got friends coming to meet you on the canal or whatever, you know they're going to get to you. It's not somewhere, well, we're somewhere between Bridge 10 and Bridge 11 type thing.
Right.
And I think the other thing is an internet strength meter is something else that I suspect we're going to be using quite a lot.
So what's that?
There's something to tell us how good the internet is
at that point.
wherever we are on the canal, because
Before you get there, you know how strong the internet
No,
is.
you don't know till you're there. It's one of those apps where, okay, what's the internet like here? And it measures it exactly where you're standing.
Oh, okay.
So you know, okay, well, we've got to move a few yards up the canal just to increase the strength of the internet or whatever.
Okay.
the mobile phone signal.
Yeah.
So I can't think of anything else. Otherwise, it's just standard apps.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other vessels on the canals aside from the narrowboats?
Yeah, there are. There's a big variety,
Yeah.
actually, and depending on where you are in London and on the Thames, because we can go on the rivers as well, and even on tidal rivers, but less so. It's more scary. So, from the tidal rivers, you've got massive ships, and then scales down to everything really. There's fiberglass boats, your standard cruisers like you would see here out on the lake, not pontoon boats. We don't really have those
No, we
much
don't have
in the
those.
UK.
No.
But little fiberglass cruising boats, day cruisers.
Cabin cruisers.
Yeah. We'll get those. They also do narrow boats that are effectively double wide.
Yeah, double wides.
Do they call them double wides?
No, they're called a wide beam.
Wide beam.
A wide beam.
And they're very luxurious. You got a lot
they're
of space
big,
in them.
yeah.
That's like a house. Houseboats, obviously,
Yeah.
that tend to be permanently moored. They can be, you get those a lot in the bigger cities. Canoes, paddleboards, all sorts.
So I would imagine that the canals would vary in width. Is it always possible for two narrowboats to be side by side when they're passing each other, or are they narrower where
I mean, the
you might have to
majority of the
pass? Or
time.
The majority, yes, you can
Okay.
get past, but some you can't. And because canals don't have a flow on them, they're level
right?
all the time. If a canal is built and it meets a hill, you have to put a tunnel through that hill. So there are some substantial tunnels on the network, a couple of miles long,
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
and
Some of them
sometimes
can take like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get through. But it's normally on those you have to book a time so that you don't meet somebody in the middle of it. So what they do is
some
they-
you can pass, but
yeah,
some are
you
single.
can't. So you have to book a time, or if it's a tunnel that only takes 20 minutes to go through, typically what they'll do is if one end you can go in at the top of the hour and the other end you're only allowed to enter at the bottom of the hour, so that way you won't meet anybody. But
Pretty well organised.
yeah,
And
no, I
they've been
have to
doing it
say,
for best part of 200 years.
Yeah.
So I think they've got it sorted now,
Yeah.
for the most part. And those, back in the day, everything was horse-drawn. All the narrowboats were pulled along by horses. There were
along the towpath.
there were no engines at that time. Hadn't been invented. So
So are there a lot of walking paths beside the canals?
yeah, so every canal has a towpath, which the horse
Would have walked along.
walked along in the day, and now they're footpaths, so they're open to everyone. So you can cycle on them, you can walk on them.
Right.
Can get a bit muddy in the winter, but I think they're great. And so so your canal's level, your towpaths are level wherever you go. It's only when you get to where locks are that you start climbing up and down hills.
So if one of you wanted to drive the boat and one wanted to go for a walk 4 miles
Yeah.
an hour,
You just walk along.
You
that's
just
a good
walk
pace. You can walk
alongside,
alongside.
You can
of
walk
it, yeah.
alongside and chat because you're
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
only just there on the towpath.
Yeah. which a lot of people do, especially if they've got dogs. We're not planning on having a dog straight away, but we might do eventually. But they will do that. They'll walk the dog alongside as the boat's going along.
So another question about guests. Can you have guests on? Can people come to visit you on the Narrowboat?
No. Yeah.
They can. It's just tight. Typically, you have a sofa bed in your saloon, which is your sofa. So you've got a sofa bed, but there is only one bedroom and one double bed.
So what would be a good way to visit? Like if I wanted to come visit you on your Narrowboat, would we just like arrange that you were somewhere and you wouldn't be moving? I'd stay at a hotel close by or a pub or something like that.
Yeah.
How would that work?
Yeah, probably.
No, I mean, we could be moored in an area for up to 2 weeks, so you could come and.
You don't want me around for 2 weeks.
No, that's true. But you could come visit. We could go out for a cruise for the day.
Right.
Maybe even 2 days. You could do one night on the boat, stay overnight on the sofa bed, and we could drop you back, and you could go off and do what you wanted. Somebody wants
or you
to
could
rough
hire
it.
your own boat. And
Yeah.
You could cruise along together.
Yeah, we could go along
You'd have
together.
Your own boat.
Yeah, there are hire companies
All over.
Okay.
So it's easy to hire your own boat. And people do all sorts. And there are families, young children, all sorts on the boats. And some of the big boats, the 70-footers, they can have 2 or 3 bedrooms easily. And there are multi-generational families. There's all sorts. Yeah. It's a very diverse group of people. Some people just want a very cheap lifestyle, and there are people that have a lot of money and that have brand new boats, very flash, all electric motors, everything, and they spend over 200,000 sometimes on a boat. And they just want a more relaxed lifestyle, and we're sort of somewhere
in the middle.
in the middle to the upper end at the moment. I think is where we want to slot in.
Yeah.
So if someone came to visit you, here's another idea. If someone came to visit you, would be willing to rent a bigger boat, like a 3-bedroom, could you captain it? And then we all just go on vacation together for a week and then bring the boat back, and then you just go on your merry way on your own Narrowboat.
Absolutely. That's more than possible, but there's no reason why you can't captain it yourself.
They're actually very easy.
Very easy to do.
There's a few reasons why I can't captain it myself, but but maybe somebody else can. Okay.
It's quite possible. The hire companies.
But there are big boats that you could hire, and we could captain it and have a holiday together on one boat.
Or in the UK, we have tons of pubs that are right on
the river, on the canals.
So we can moor our boat outside
the pub.
Visitors who are staying in an Airbnb in a town, we can meet in a pub right by the water. I'm sure some of them have accommodation. The options are endless.
There's lots of options.
I don't think it will limit people coming to see us.
Okay, so that's part 2 of our chat with Arnold, our neighbour. We hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for us to actually finally be able to talk about fully our plans and discuss what we're thinking, where we're going, and hopefully
crazy plans.
What we're going to end up doing. We hope you enjoyed both of those. Next week's vlog will be up in 2 weeks' time on a Wednesday. Back to the usual schedule, and hopefully we've got something interesting for you to watch then. We'll see you then. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.